2, 1, live.
Well, it's been a month, but we're coming back at you tonight with the Super 1 British Esports Championship here, round 6 at the Glan Y Gors circuit, and what a circuit it is, the home of karting in Wales. Hello indeed, and welcome to Glan Y Gors here in the Super 1 British Esports Championship. Josh Anderson here to take you through the action tonight, and I'm joined by a certain Chris Buxton. Hello and welcome to the commentary box, Chris.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. It is a great pleasure to be in the commentary box again with you, Mr. Anderson. And we have got some very fine drivers ready to give us some great action here at Glan Y Gors, here in the beautiful Highlands of Wales. And Josh Irfan is leading the way in the championship. And he has his arch rival, or several of his arch rivals indeed. Jason McCleary is right with him on track as well. So, yes, really looking forward to this.
Rightfully so as well. It is shaping up to be a fantastic battle in all categories. Obviously in the cadet categories, you can see the standings here. Josh Irfan, 363 points at the moment. He is leading affairs quite away at the moment. But remember, there is a drop score in the cadet championship. Worst point score of the season gets dropped, so Jason McCleary very much still within the shouty if he can continue to pick up some good points. Kai Bacchini as well on 303 within reach, as is Sam Shaw. He's only as far behind as he is because of a terrible round 4. That's going to get dropped though, remember, so Irfan needs to be on his toes. At the moment, at least, he is the Ollie Stevens, he's ahead of Ollie Stevens on 276 as well in the top 5. But Sandro Ballesteros, mathematically, I think is still within it as well on 219 points. We have a 6-way battle with 2 rounds to go for the Cadet Championship. So that is pretty impressive at the moment to have 6 karts still going at it, Chris, for the title.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to see in any championship. You don't want it dead in the water long before the championship is done. And exactly as you said, Joshua, with the drop rounds due to happen, Sam Shaw is by no means out of it. He's scored so well, winning all but one of the rounds he's scored in so far in this championship. He could easily skyrocket back up to the top. So yeah, Josh Irfan still has a lot of work to do, but it is so open to all of them. 8 karts now with us in the session, so anything could happen here.
It could, yes, anything could happen, and I think anything will happen today at Glan Y Gors, because it looks like such a tough circuit. Just from looking here, you got some very tight and twisty sections and some faster sections too. And I'm just watching Josh Irfan get it all sorts of sideways throughout here. It's how you drive these karts, of course, these junior karts, these cadet karts. You tend to slide them because obviously of the nature of karts, they don't really have much suspension. Some of the I think you only have front suspension, and the back is just a solid axle anyway, so you do have to slide them to get the most out of them. And round a circuit which is so undulating and requires such good flow, such rhythm, you're going to have to stay in control of that kart at all times, otherwise you're going to lose significant amount of time.
Absolutely, yes, and again, watching Josh as he's really skillfully sliding the tail of the kart around. It's the best way to rotate these small vehicles. I mean, bear in mind, they're sat so low to the ground, there's barely a couple of inches between the backside and the tarmac, and the curbs will absolutely throw the kart very, very unhappily. Josh just going over quite a flat one there, but in his previous practice lap, he hit one quite hard, and I just completely threw the kart to the opposite side of the track. It's that sort of thing he's got to be aware of. Of course, they all do, but at this stage in the season, they're very, very acclimatized to these cars. So, whoa, that's a lot of drifting going on there by Josh. Just slightly compromised his entrance into that really twisty section there. And the field is so tight, particularly at the top. Looking at the times at the moment, Sam Shaw at the top of the leaderboard, just breaking that 49-second mark with that 48.988, and only 900th behind him is Kai Bacchini. So it's so tight. One mistake could be absolutely crucial.
Yeah, Josh Irfan really not far behind the two of them, but Sean Bacchini, showing just where they are in this championship. Kai Bacchini as well, he's third. He's really picked up form towards the mid-end of this championship. Struggled a bit in 4th and 1st rounds, but has really gone on since then. Absolutely a title candidate with how close he is to Sam Shaw. But of course, Josh Irfan, the real dominant force in this championship, still, I think, has got to got a couple of tenths to find. So I'd expect these three to be right up close with each other throughout practice and indeed into qualifying. And I expect this is going to be a very tight battle for the Cadet Series win here at Glan Y Gors, because these three are just so close together.
Absolutely, and the race is not particularly long, so it's not like they have any real time to make up for any mistake. Equally, if you get to the front, you have less time to defend it for. But this is how copy a mistake can be. If you fall 3 to 4 seconds off the back of the pack, your day isn't so much over and done with, but it's made that much more difficult because the race, as frantic as they are, they're over in a blink of an eye in comparison to some other racing categories. So again, that really puts a fair amount of pressure on our young cadets to get it right. Again, just keep an eye on Josh Irfan. The way he's just able to manoeuvre that car around is brilliantly done, but still finds himself a couple of tenths off the top. And now between Sam Shaw and Kai Vicini, it's 5,000ths of a second. You can't get a great deal closer than that.
I think this is going to be a fantastic qualifying session, and if it's going to be this close between Joe and Magini, we won't be able to know who's going to get pole right until the very end of it at this rate. These two really so close together, practically nothing separating them at the moment, and I'm expecting that they will just get quicker in this practice session from here on in. But yeah, really close stuff, and it's going to make for some close racing, and of course that in itself comes with its own problems, because obviously here in the Super 1 British Esports Championship, we have a kind of system regarding the front fairings on the cars. If the nose cone comes off, you get a 10-second penalty, because in actual Super 1 they have the adjustable fairings which go up and down. Obviously, enough of a hit knocks the fairing down, you'll get a penalty if that happens. We can't emulate that enough at the steering course, which is why they just straight up come off. So you lose that, and you don't lose any time, but you will lose 10 seconds after the race.
Yeah, and that is absolute catastrophe if that happens, and it's so easy to do. And now Jason McCleary is getting involved in that lead battle. Just 65 thousandths of a second up the top spot. Josh has found another 10, but still has another one to find. 4 drivers, just over a 10 separating them. There's a bit of a gap between Josh Irfan and Sandra Ballesteros at the moment. But wow, I think, exactly as we alluded to, we're in for a fantastic race today.
We are, and I certainly wasn't expecting. I mean, we've had close races in this championship before.
Yeah, there's closer and close.
There you go. There goes Josh Irfan now, up into first place, stamping his authority, saying, "I'm going to win this race if anybody's going to win it." And he goes 2 tenths faster than Sam Shaw. Now that is kind of more like what we've seen this season from Josh Irfan. But let's not forget here, we have 3 karts within 700ths of each other. That is stupendously close, even if Irfan has just gone a lot faster than Shaw.
Yeah, absolutely. And still time on the board, just under 7 minutes remaining in this session. So with the laps, as we can clearly see, around or under 50 seconds. There's still a number of laps these guys are going to do. Wow, keeping an eye on McCleary, really getting the tail out. Unfortunately, he hit that apex very, very hard there, coming into the closing stages of the lap, which will have cost him a bit of time, and that's him in the pits, and that's how you knock your nose off, unfortunately. So that was a slightly unfortunate incident there for Jason McCleary. But yeah, that just shows how talented these guys are to be so close in timing. Josh Irfan is actively saying stamping his authority at the moment, but it's all well and good getting the kart on the front row. It's keeping it there as well, and these guys are not afraid to get their elbows out and really get on with the job.
Yeah, we've seen that all season. There has been a lot of elbows out racing between these karts, and it always seems like almost, if you're watching from another category, thinking, what are they doing? They're just doing all these things. But in kart racing, it's kind of the expected what these guys are doing. Let's not forget, these cadet drivers, these are very experienced cadet drivers. They may be young, but they've been racing these karts for a while. They know what they're doing, They're not doing anything untoward. It's all fair game here, and we have had some elbows out racing, and, they're pushing each other to the maximum. That's what they're doing, and it makes some spectacular cornering sometimes. Like, we've seen karts go 3 wide into corners and have battles throughout the entire race, even though the race is only 12 laps long. So we're looking at a bit of a 10-minute sprint here. It almost feels like a full hour's worth of racing with how much action goes on sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. We just saw Sam Shaw and Sandra Ballesteros actually having a bit of a race of their own. You were not in the race yet, guys, but that's not stopping them. They're getting a bit of a racing to get practice going on there. But yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what you need, especially in this kind of category where you can't rely on things like car differences, engine differences, aerodynamic differences, things like that. It's all down to driver and machine. That is where the only differences lie. You've got to be absolutely pretty ruthless, really, to make your way through the pack. You can't be a passive driver in this particular type of category. And as we've seen throughout the season, and we're certainly seeing again here today, these guys are raring to go.
They are, yeah, and kart racing is just such a good way to get into, see the future talents, because they are so demanding. Like, they're not like lower Formula cars, like the likes of your Formula 4s and your Formula 3s and your USF 2000s. They're not like that because, as we say, they're completely different because of that. The insane power to weight ratio. These things are so light, and they have fairly powerful engines anyway, and these things are just so quick, so nimble, and as we say, they don't have rear suspension. So the rear end is always going to be alive. So it's a great way to learn how to drive anything, really, because, you have to be constantly on it.
Yeah, if you can drive these well, you can easily progress. Of course, each category that these guys then can progress to have their own, each vehicle has its own characteristics, of course. But almost every driver has started in a category such as this, and usually at cadet level. And exactly as you say, the future talent lies right before us, and the talent is very, very strong.
It is, and the prizes are strong for those who can succeed in it as well, not just in the real world, of course, but in here as well, because, we mentioned it a couple throughout this season, but we are offering prizes for the winners of each category. Remember, the cadet category, they get their entire 2019 Super 1 Esports, Super 1, I think they get an entry in Super 1 Esports next year as well, but they get their entire Super 1 season in real life paid for next year.
And what an incredible prize that is. Anyone that has any kind of racing aspirations, that kind of prize is just absolutely colossal. Again, we mentioned that these guys are very, very young as well, so to have that kind of support behind you at this early in their racing career is just absolutely invaluable. And also what I personally love is the fact that organisations such as KartSim here are embracing the esports route for drivers to be able to embrace not only their passion but their skill, future careers. It's absolutely great to see that level of support.
It is. It's fantastic to see the support that we're seeing, and for such a big prize as well, just to be able to have those, your entire season paid for. It's serious business. If that could make someone's career.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we've heard so many times from drivers that have gotten into the real world racing in whatever category best suits them, but have been defeated by financial troubles, that couldn't find that sponsorship, couldn't quite get there financially. And this provides another means to get there. It's great to see, and long may it continue to evolve. But looking at our timings, and still, Josh Irfan has, whatever he's found, no one else has managed to discover that secret yet. 1.5 minutes to go in this session, and still leads the way over Sam Shaw by 2/10.
Yeah, still leads, and Josh Irfan could be the one walking away with that 2019 Super 1 British Championship prize. It's not just the registration entry fees and tyres you get for every single round. You get awning space and team fees for the first round of the championship, as well as a brand new rolling car chassis, both prepared by Strawberry Racing as well. So this is a top-end prize. Strawberry Racing are a great team, and you're going to be getting good equipment.
Oh yes, yeah. There's no second-hand knockoffs going on here at all, and some people have to make do with the equipment that they can get hold of or what they can afford. But yeah, they are. What's on offer here today in this championship is absolutely phenomenal. And Kai Bacchini has actually just jumped up into that second spot, just getting within 2/10 of Josh Irfan. It's still going on with just over 30 seconds left.
It is, yes, and we'll be going over the junior and senior prizes when we get to those championships. But right now, at least, we are actually about to head into the qualifying session for the Cadet Championship. And as you rightly say there, Chris, Kai Bacchini moves into that second place, just 2/10 out from Josh Irfan now. Usurps Sam Shaw for second place. And, going into the qualifying, I reckon Josh Irfan will be the one to beat, as he has been all season. But realistically, Shaw, Bacchini, and even Jason McCleary, remember, 3/10 behind, but by absolutely no means out of it. You know, he is second in the Cadet Championship, Jason. He is going to be absolutely up there with them as this qualifying session gets underway soon. I reckon we will have a four-way fight for pole.
It's certainly looking that way, and whilst this is just a practice session, you could argue it doesn't hold the kind of weight that the qualifying session does. There's that little kind of mental edge. I've beaten you. You're kind of trying to get that mental one-upmanship, and that is just as important in a lot of ways, especially in the junior categories. Indeed, in any category, but you kind of learn that mind game at this kind of stage, and if you can start to get into the minds of your competitors, you start to get used to that way of thinking. Practice sessions start to become much more important.
Yeah, if you're the sort of person who can get that mind games going and make your opponents run scared, so to speak, think, oh God, he's quick. He's right up there with the best of them here. Is something to be worried about. It's quite easily the case that ultimately, at the end of the day, they are going to be going for it, pushing to the absolute maximum. And, if you're up there in the practice timesheet, it's just going to be a case of, well, okay, I've seriously got someone to beat here, Chris.
Yeah, indeed. And exactly as you were saying before, where you've got that kind of level of mind game going on, that will play on you as a driver, especially without the kind of experience behind them to be able to think, okay, let's just settle down and get on with it. Early on in any kind of driver's career, before they've kind of gotten used to handling that mental pressure, if you're able just to kind of get, doesn't matter what that advantage is, coming back to kind of getting into your opponent's head, if you're able to kind of prove your one-upmanship at all, even just it starts with silly things like getting out of the garage first. You're making a statement of intent. It's all part of the overall package ready.
Yeah, got to be completely ready and raring to go, and really just got to go for it. Ultimately, at the end of the day here, and yeah, we're just going into the qualifying session soon. I imagine just a couple of minutes for the drivers to get a bit of a rest in, and then go full throttle in the quali session, and ultimately be ready for the brilliance that happens ahead.
Indeed. So Josh then stamping his authority on this particular session with Sam Shaw and Kai Bettini, and also Jesse McCleary in that top four mixture. There could also be, there's another element of this where people may have proved themselves in the practice, so that can weigh on the mind of other drivers. Oh, he was that much quicker than me, I was pushing like crazy and still couldn't quite get there. That will weigh on your mind. But equally, there's an element of, I know what I can do, I'm not going to show my cards now. So those that maybe were a little bit off the pace, they could be sandbagging for all we know. So there is not a good, you can't just read entirely into it as we now head into the qualifying session.
Yeah, heading into quali now, and it's going to be a hard-pressed affair for these guys. I'm imagining that this top four battle for the lead of the championship, and this is going to be a brilliant qualifying session. We're about to get underway. Time about to start. What is happening here in the Super 1 British Esports Championship? Hold on, you can see, because this is going to be a close one.
Oh, yes.
Yep. And
it's Kai Bettini that actually comes out first. So, along with Ollie Stevens, Jason McCleary, and indeed everybody, of course, wanted to get out as quickly as possible. They don't have long, less than 7 minutes to get out of the garage, get some clear track, and get that all-important lap done. We know the lap's pretty short, but that's, that 7 minute time span will disappear very, very quickly. And, so Kai had that bit of an advantage by getting out first, so he doesn't have anybody ahead of him. But that can undo itself because he won't necessarily be the last man over the line. That's the point that counts. That's where you want to get your lap time in without leaving your opponents a time to beat it.
Yeah, you've got to have, you got to get in there quick with the shortness of this qualifying session. Remember, only about 6 minutes, but, it's about getting in there, but also getting a good lap in too. The pressure is on for these guys.
Well and truly. So everybody now getting across the line, starting their time lap. So if you're not first on track, you do have to, you have that particular disadvantage of knowing there's somebody in front of you. But for instance, Josh Irfan knows he's got a pretty big gap between himself and Kai Bettini, so he doesn't have anything immediate to worry about. So as he then sets on his way, he could look to set a banker lap in. It's the normal tactic to do, get a safe banker lap done first, and they've obviously practiced just now. They know what the conditions are. They know where they can push their kart to the limit. But when the pressure's on, that's when the real talent will shine.
Yeah, indeed. It's really going to come out and shine. Yeah, Guy Bacchini gets the first lap in of the session. 49.1 set, and Josh Erfin goes 3/10 behind. Of course, these times will come down a little bit because, of course, got to get the kart up to speed and get it warmed up, get the tyres warmed up. These are not what the actual ending times are going to be for these guys. But ultimately, Sam Shaw, Josh Erfin, Jason McCleary, all going to be pushing as well. Ryan Ward has got a time in too. Alfie Baxter-Dave is the only one who hasn't at the moment because his ping is 973, but coming down. But I assume will fix itself in and amongst all this. But yeah, everyone pushing hard to get the lap time in as soon as they can. In fact, I've just seen Kai Bacchini and Alfie Baxter-Davies both dropped connection from the TeamSpeak server. So maybe a slight problem going on there for them, but Bacchini's still on the server in R-Factor 2 at least, so
yeah,
good. He's still here and setting laps. That's what's important. Josh Erfin, though, look how close he is, 500s.
Yeah, absolutely. We were seeing the 48.7s coming out of the practice session from Josh. Kai Bacchini then was the first to get into the 48, very closely followed by Erfan. Sam Shaw, a couple of tenths down at the moment, so right there in the mixture. Jason McCleary fourth on the board, just 6 cents down with that 49.5. Then Ryan with 50.0. Sandro Ballesteros 50.4. Alfie Baxter-Davis right there as well with 50.7. Ollie Stevens struggling a little bit at the moment, 51.3. That could have been as a result of a mistake, or just trying to just get that banker lap in, build up the confidence, build up the speed. As we see Kai Bacchini come over the line again. Does he improve? Not this time. What about Josh Erfan right behind him on circuit? Does he improve? He does. He takes, once again, getting that 48.7 and takes the pole time. It's still all to do, but there's not much time left to do it in.
Yeah, not much time left now, and there's 3 minutes 17. That sounds like a lot, but realistically, you're only going to get about 3 more laps in at that. They've done about 4 each of the drivers here, and everyone just tends to stay out and go on and on and on in these karts, and ultimately, tyre wear is not going to be a massive factor, but if you overheat your tyres too much on one lap, you're going to continue to overheat them perhaps if you keep pushing too hard. So, that can ruin a lap sometimes with the nature of the pushing so hard. The tyres might just get too hot, you might lose grip and go slower. So, realistically, you kind of need to know when to back off if you're not going to improve on a lap, so you can cool your tyres down and push hard on the next one.
Yeah, indeed, and you don't want to back yourself into the path of another car. Now, the track isn't so condensed that they will automatically throw themselves. It's not like there's 20 cars out there. That would be exceedingly busy and very, very hard to do. But they've got they've got space on track to be able to do that little bit of backing off and get themselves ready to go. But also, there's another element to bear in mind that if they make a mistake, it can just unsettle them. The frustration starts to build, and this again becomes part of the mind game. It's a mind game with yourself. You start to think, oh, come on, why did I make that mistake? And if you haven't got the experience to just keep yourself settled, no, I can do better next time, let's just get on with it. That frustration can mount, mistake becomes mistake. So again, that's just another part of these impressive drivers, that they can just continue to push like this. And the times are absolutely impressive, even top to bottom. They are absolutely great to see. As what have we got? We've got 140 left to go. So yeah, another couple of laps left, not long to go, and the times are still pretty tight at the top.
Yeah, indeed. I'm just saying here at the moment a couple of things that are pertinent during the race, which we'll mention when the race comes around. But Josh Erfin's still leading this qualifying session. 1 minute 20 to go now, so there really is only going to be a couple laps more in it. But I think Kai Bacchini, if he can just string a good lap together, he could usurp him. I really do, because he's been so impressive. Shaw has still got to get the best out of that car. McCleary still has got to get the best out of it as well, if practice is anything to go by. But, with 1 minute and 5 to go, this is pretty much the last chance saloon.
Yeah, Kai Bacchini just crossed the line with just over a minute to go, and he has improved on his times, now 48.917, so just brings it down a little bit. Still a tenth of a minute to find. Sam Shaw, we know how quick he has been throughout the season. Of course, he had that bad round in round 4 at Shennington, so that of course will be one of his drop results, but he can't afford any more of those, and things like that can weigh on your mind. You've had a bad round and you don't want that to repeat itself. So So it's all about handling pressure. Oh, Josh Irfan runs a little bit wide onto the dust. That is not going to help. He should just about beat the flag to start another lap in time. King-Kodiak, of course, still the lead car on track, still second. 1/10 still to follow. 1 3/4 end still to find. Crosses the line. Does he improve? Not this time. This really is the last time he's going to be able to start a lap. Josh Irfan comes over the line. He doesn't improve from that already impressive 48.746. Sam Shaw splits the pair of them 48.884 as the checker flag comes out now. So the qualifying is done. Got the top three already on a lap. So it's very much last chance to do now, and it's so close.
Oh, it is a close-knit affair here at the moment here. I think a couple of more seconds will decide what happens here. Irfan leading from Shaw, just leads from Bacchini. This is very much a three-way fight at the moment. Josh Irfan is on a flying lap, as is Sam Shaw, as is Kai Bacchini. They're all coming round now. Josh Irfan, I think, is going to be the first. No, it's Kai Bacchini who goes pole. The exact
matched
same
it!
time as Irfan. To the 1,000%. Irfan doesn't improve. So he's up down to Shaw now, and Shaw doesn't improve. So I thought, if Jason McCleary can do something here, he can't. Maybe Ryan Ward can improve at the least, but I don't think. But Sandro Ballesteros either, as well as too far back. So Kai Bacchini, get this, by 10,000 of a second, has got pole from Josh Irfan. That is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. I'm looking at the standings here. It says Kai Bacchini 48.746, Josh Irfan 48.746. That is Josh Irfan.
Wow.
Josh Irfan, I don't even think it wasn't an improvement that last lap. So Bacchini must have usurped him by just enough. Just enough on that last lap.
You are talking millimeters of difference there to go down to 10,000ths of a second. Millimeters.
10,000. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I really haven't. That is the closest result possibly in the history of karting ever. Wow!
What a race we set ourselves up for then, with such an incredible time. And that, again, we're coming back to the mind games again, that could really bug Josh Irfan, because he had that pole for quite a while. He had that for most of the session. He set that time quite early, and again, that was really right where his practice time was, so he knew he had that capability, and Kai wasn't quite there. It was a couple of tenths off during that practice session, and suddenly, if you feel that you've got the pace advantage, and that image gets completely broken, that can really hit you. You think, oh, okay, I've now got to really kind of build myself up, keep myself calm, I can do it, but you suddenly don't have that air of security behind you to reassure you can do it. And again, this will be a real test of how well they handle the pressure.
Oh, it will be, and indeed, we got people in the comments saying, "What a start to the broadcast!" Indeed, you do not get this anywhere else. So close. I mean, I've never seen a qualifying session. I've commentated on some races here, some esports races, but I've never had one where it's been this close in qualifying. I mean, I've seen it in practice sessions a couple of times, but not qualifying, not when the pressure's on. And Kai Bacchini, it shows what he's made of, that he can do that. And if anything is going to get Josh Irfan running scared, I'd say it's this. He's always been a couple of tenths up, at the best of times, and now he's been usurped by the smallest of margins. He's got to think at this point, right, okay, Kai is absolutely on it here. He's matching me here. I have to get a good start. It's going to be about the start, and what a start it is set to be, ladies and gentlemen. I should ask Chris, that qualifying session out of the way, who do you think's going to win it?
Knew you were going to ask that. I think the advantage is still with Josh, but he's got to keep himself calm. If he makes a mistake, we said this before, one mistake is so crucial, especially if they take the nose off the cart. That's job done. 10 seconds is near impossible to make up in this kind of series. So it's all about handling that pressure. It could be anybody. I think Josh has still got the advantage, but don't discount Sam Shaw.
Here we go then, lights on and lights off here at Glan Y Gors. Good start from Bacchini by the looks of it. Irfan, though, is the one to watch on the outside. He has not got as fast a start. He'll have to look for a run into the first couple of turns. McCleary, look at Ward behind as well. Ryan Ward doing a good job catching up nicely. Ballesteros gets cut off has to yield into the first major turn here. And contact behind Warnoff. That is Warnoff, and he rejoins and back to Davies collateral. As well as that, he rejoined. He had nowhere to go. The cart was sliding, couldn't control it from there, and Alfie Baxter Davies helpless to get out of the way. Ultimately a passenger, both of them in that. But Kai Bacchini is taking the big advantage. Josh Erfin's down to third.
Yeah, he's made a mistake. Oh, he just touched the grass there, but caused the car to slide quite a long way off. And number 7 is he needs to get back into the rhythm. He needs to calm himself down and get back onto where he knows he can be. This comes exactly back to the mind games we were talking about. He realised he couldn't quite get Kai Bacchini on that start, and now Sam Shaw has really capitalised. Sam was caught up in a bit of a battle for fourth early on, but he really has broken away. He's capitalising on that as well. Oh, there's that discarded bit of car we saw early on. So Josh has got to really keep himself calm, but he is losing time on the leader at the moment.
Now, we should mention, we meant to mention this, we said we would mention it, and we are. There are a couple of drive-thrus to serve. One of them is actually for Kai Bacchini, so we'll have to serve that drive-thru. That's going to cost him the lead here, but with the pace he's showed, I don't imagine he's going to have any problems getting back up to the lead here. So it is going to give Sam Shaw some breathing room. In comes Bacchini to serve that penalty, and he's doing so now. Erfin, though, right on the back. Bacchini, by the looks of it, is going to come out behind McCleary, but a bit of a correction here, actually, it was McCleary who got involved with Ryan Ward when he spun. So at the moment, Kai is set to regain third because of that penalty, but back to Davies and Ballesteros right behind him are going to make sure they give him some serious strife for it as we come into this right-hander. Bacchini gets away very nicely, clips the corner actually a little bit. You'll have to watch track limits throughout the rest of this race, of course, but McCleary is certainly within range one, but it's Erfin and Shaw at the front.
Erfin has got a back ahead of Shaw again. So whether Sam Shaw was slightly put off with Bacchini coming into the pits, possibly at a time he wasn't expecting, who knows, or whether there was a mistake between these two, as Sam Shaw now really piles the pressure on. But exactly as you say, Jason McCleary's gone back up into third. Bacchini's made a mistake somewhere. So car number 14 now back into fourth with that rearranged cart from Jason McCleary. Ollie Stevens is really, really struggling. He finds himself a lap down now.
Looks like Baxter Davies has had a bit of connection issue. He's got out of the track here, and I think this is what Ray had told before as well. This is probably a connection issue to the server on Baxter Davies' part, so it's looking like he's out of the running here. Ballesteros, though, has Ryan Ward to worry about, so they both gained a place out of all this. And yeah, it looks like Baxter Davies, at the very least, is going to have to leave the server and rejoin, but Ballesteros has got Ward to worry about now at the very least. And they're chasing each other. Both still have the front bumpers. Bacchini still has his. McCleary, of course, doesn't, so he will end up 10 seconds down the road behind behind Ballesteros and the likes, and Baxter Davies perhaps. But Bacchini just has to worry about keeping his nose clean here, because he has nothing to gain by pushing hard and potentially losing ace. He just needs to kind of get past McCleary and then go for Shaw and Erfin, who are right close to each other, actually. Nose to nose. Contact made. And this is what we talk about, the elbows out racing. Erfin and Shaw going to battle with each other here. Baxter Davies has disconnected, but Shaw and Erfin giving no quarter to each other.
No, indeed, but Bacchini has got... Bacchini's actually down to 6th. He's made a mistake somewhere. He's tried to push hard to get past McCleary, and he's lost the nose of that car as well, so he's actually throwing that away. What a great shame for Kai Bacchini. Kai Bacchini is... he seems to have
and Ward! Ward's off his front bumper, and he's turned Bacchini as well. Bacchini loses his too. That's 2 more front bumpers gone, 2 more penalties to serve. Bacchini actually lost his. Bacchini spun. He lost the back, went into the back of Jason McCleary, who I think was actually slowing down somewhat. He went into the back of McCleary. McCleary got away. Bacchini then went forwards into Ryan Ward, cost him his front bumper, and then Sandro Ballesteros behind was just there to pick up the pieces, but yeah, that was a bit of an incident there. As Ballesteros goes over the bumper and loses his!
Oh no, there's only 2 cars with bumpers still attached, which is Shaw and Erfan. I think Ollie Stevens may have lost his, but he's really struggling out there. He's a couple of laps down now. So, Ollie Stevens still has his. Only 3 cars of our remaining drivers still have their front bumpers on, but Josh Erfan cannot shake Sam Shaw. Sam made a little bit of a mistake in that twisty section leading to the line, but he has not been more than half a second ahead of green car number 9 all race long since those two cross swords, or since Kai Bicini served his drive through. But of course, with everybody around Kai Bicini having a 10-second penalty as well, and so that kind of mitigates his loss essentially between those. But as we said, Ballesteros would have, if he could have stayed within 10 seconds of McCleary, he would have gained that third. But sadly, that isn't going to be the case either. And here comes Sam Shaw again, trying to put pressure on the lead. So as we're fast approaching halfway stage in this race, this 12-lap race here, and Glan Y Gors coming through that final turn again. It gets so frustrating when you think you've got the pace, and here he goes in the slipstream. Can he get the inside line? But no, Frank shut that down. And again, Shaw's got to find his line. There's not many opportunities to try and stick a move on a driver as talented as Josh Irfan. Josh got a little bit squirrely there coming into the braking zone as he was defending half from Shaw, but Shaw couldn't capitalise on that. This is going to go to the flag.
We feel it is. I mean, Sam Shaw must be sitting behind Josh Irfan thinking, how wide is that number 7 cart right now? Because he can't find a way through, and ultimately his best shot is in that fast run down through the corners into the next major turn, because realistically, these carts all have the same fight. They all use the same recommended final gear, so they've all got the same top speed. It's acceleration which is going to get you the advantage. As soon as you top out, and you've got to try and look for the next opportunity. Breaking into a corner, you see he gains under acceleration, but he can't get any further because the carts have topped out. So Shaw is going to try and find a way through by trying to get a run in the braking on Irfan, and that's not happening right now.
Or he's going to have to try and bully Josh Irfan into a mistake, which again, looking at Josh's past form, looking at how we've seen him in practice and in qualifying and so far in this race, that is not going to be a common thing. It's not something he commonly does. But of course, let's not forget that Sam Shaw still has the advantage as far as points are concerned. He may well just play the long game, realise he doesn't necessarily have to kind of get past, but your racing instinct takes over. You want that top spot. As we now start to head towards the final 3/4 of the race, Sam is running out of time to do something about it. Josh again holding on to that inside line. Sam thinking about trying to go between Josh and the grass, and he's having a look at it again. Josh has shut that door, not letting that car number 9 through.
Yeah, the thing is, Josh Irfan is holding the inside line through the run down, and that's what Shaw needs to get through ultimately. He's putting that number 7 in all the right places at the moment, and he's doing a great job of holding off Sam Shaw here. He's really pushing as hard as he can to get through his Shaw, but Irfan is already shutting the doors before he even has a chance to get his foot in, really. So Shaw, ultimately, he's going to have to take a battering ram to said doors if he wants a chance of the win.
And this again shows that the real talent that Josh Irfan is showing is not just the pace in the card, it's not just how well he can nail that right foot to the floor. He's reading his opponent, he knows where he's weaker than Sam that's chasing him. So he is shutting the door as and when he can. And again, it's just Sam has a tiny opportunity there coming into that heavy braking zone. But once again, Josh just positioning his kart so to give him the best possible line he can, but preventing Sam Shaw from using that, what seems to be that slight bit of acceleration advantage that Sam Shaw has. So again, a bit of an impact there between the 7 and the 9, but no spin, no damage going on at the moment. But yeah, Josh Irfan doing a brilliant job of reading his opponents and adjusting his tactics accordingly to keep Sam Shaw at bay.
Yeah, really is doing a fantastic job here as we enter the final lap of this race now. It has flown by, it really has, but Josh Irfan and Sam Shaw now just 40 seconds separating both of them from the win here. One of them is going to come out with it, one of them is going to come out second best, but at the end of the day, they've both pushed each other as hard as they possibly can for it, so whoever does win will come out as the rightful victor here, because they have both gone absolutely completely to the limit for it. Irfan is just making that kart as wide as he can. Shaw's just looking at every single opportunity now. He's scrambling around for the chance to get into the lead here, but Irfan has just held that kart where he's held it for the last 11 laps of this race, and where he will continue to hold it. I don't think Shaw's going to get the look in that he's been looking for ultimately as we come around the final couple of corners and indeed round the final turn now. Josh Irfan takes the win from a valiant Sam Shaw. And then Jason McCleary should come up third from Sandro Ballesteros, from Ryan Ward, Kai Bettini, and Ollie Stevens, who I don't even think is going to be classified as he's finished 5 laps down. He has really struggled this race. might have picked up some small suspension damage. In fact, he has been disqualified. I think he might have been trying to save his drive-through all this time, but maybe it's not worked, so he actually gets disqualified. Finishes behind the disconnected Baxter Davies, so that is Ballesteros 4th, Ward 5th, Pacini 6th, and that is your running order in the cadet race. But what a duel between Josh Erford and Sam Shaw for that first place. If either of them had won it, they would have deserved it, because that was kart racing at its purest.
Oh, well and truly. You got to think, Kai Bicini matched Josh Erford exactly as we said to the 10,000th of a second. And that just shows you how one mistake, exactly as we were saying before, how costly one mistake is. And I'd rather snowball then for Bicini than ending up in 6th with no nose on the front of the kart. But what a great performance by both Josh Erford and Sam Shaw. Exactly as you say, Joshua. Both of them would have been very worthy winners of that. But, yeah, and so the championship continues.
Yes, it does. And if the next rounds are going to be anything like that, I can't wait for it. Last round, of course, is the next round. This is round 6. The season finale is next up. If they can continue this battle into then, I think it's going to be a fantastic one. Josh Erford then will increase his championship lead by 3 points because, of course, Sam Shaw's drop score is round 4 at the moment. Erford's drop score is round 1. So, at the moment at least, there is still practically nothing separating them, because I think they've got 3 wins each now with the drop scores. They now have 3 wins each, with Shaw winning rounds 1, 2 and 5. Erford has won rounds 3, 5 and 6. And every other race to finish second, so they're equal heading into the final round.
Wow.
With the drop scores already out of the way, it's whoever finishes first takes it.
Well, you can't get much closer than that as far as the championship is concerned, and that really is going to show who can really handle the pressure, because there is nothing more, there's no pressure cooker situation more than, equal points, final round, and if Sam Shaw can do another performance like that, then Josh has got it all to do. It's got a lot of pressure to handle. Almost Sam Shaw's got nothing to lose, so there's going to be less pressure on him. But who knows what could happen? Look at Kai Bicini, exactly as we said before. And let's not forget our other drivers that were doing the best possibly they can. But, people, what if, Josh or Sam have a disconnection problem like Alfie Baxter Davies did? So there's so many things that could happen, and I really can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic one. In a way, it is Josh Erford's to lose here, because he has that third place from round 1, and Sam Shaw's drop score is it did not finish. So if we go to count back, Josh Erford will win it by virtue of that third, even if they both don't score in the last round somehow. So it's going to be a case of, it really is going to be a case here of, it is Josh's to lose. He's got to beat Sam Shaw, and Sam really at this point has just got to give it his all.
Yep, there is nothing to lose at this stage. You can't hold back. Exactly what I was saying before, these guys are not afraid to get their elbows out. And wow, didn't they just, when this race was concerned. But brilliant rating from all of our drivers today. And we look forward to the next one.
Be there, and of course, this is just where the action starts. We've done one race, so we're ready for another, because the juniors and seniors are up now. Of course, the single combined race that they do in the equal machinery, but 2 separate classes. Remember, the juniors have the green plates, the seniors have the yellow, and that will be the differentiation between them. In the junior category, of course, we have an interesting battle brewing up at the moment. We have Will Chadwick at the moment leading the junior category with 360 points, and Declan Russell right behind on 348 from Matthew Higgins, who is third with 330 from James Louth on 273 and Lucas Ellingham on 258. And remember as well, junior and senior categories have 2 drop scores, not 1, 2. So at the moment, Chadwick will drop his first 2 rounds, and Russell will also drop his first 2. So realistically, there's only about 6 points between them at the moment. And Matthew Higgins as well, very much in it too, because he drops a 57 and a 63. So very close-knit stuff here between the top 4, maybe even the top 5. It's so close-knit, because we're only taking 5 out of 7 rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we start seeing equal pole times again, and again, that is just going to really open up the championship. He's so open wide. It's so great to see so much talent coming through to be, towards the closing stages of a season, and still the championship is wide open. Fabulous. Loving it. Great stuff.
Quite so indeed. And, I just can't wait for the next round now if it needs to go away, but we're going to get this one out the way first. And as we've just gone through the Junior Championship, we may as well run down the Senior Championship standings as well. Brandon Williams leading that on 357 points to the Junior Series leader is actually beating the Senior Series leader at the moment. Has been more dominant in that sense. Of course, overall position doesn't count in the races because they both race at the same time. Only position per class is important here. Malcolm Smith, though, running a close second at the moment on 339 points from Adam Farmer, who is third with 297. Ben Hamlet, who is fourth with 279. And Alex Everett, who is fifth on 258 points here. And, well, remember, in and amongst all this, again, 2 drop scores in the senior, so it's still very close-knit. But the prizes, if you thought the Cadet Championship prizes were good, the junior and senior prizes are even better for the junior. Whoever wins that, well, actually, looking at the page, actually, the KartSim page, listing the prizes, the top 3 in the junior category class all get invited for an evaluation day with Douglas Motorsport Simulators, and the winner of that, one lucky winner of that evaluation day, gets a free test in a Ginetta Junior car.
Wow, that's such an incredible incentive for these guys. And with it being so close, that's even more reason these guys need to get their elbows out and get on with the job. So that's absolutely amazing to see. And it's if our cadets are anything to go by, the juniors should be equally as good.
Yeah, it should be absolutely fantastic. And remember that as well, the top 2 in the junior category both get fully funded arrive and drive packages for a major European karting race as well, provided by Sport and Fusion. So that is big stuff as well. You know, this is major prizes. You know, to go to a major European kart race and, you know, show your talent up to some big teams as well. That is huge. But, well, if that's a big prize, the senior tops it again, because the top 3 in the senior class all get an invite for an evaluation day, just like the juniors, except this one is with Ardennes Motorsport, and it's with their Formula 4 simulators. And the lucky winner of that gets the biggest opportunity of their life, arguably. They get a Formula 4 test day with Ardennes.
Wow.
That is a career-making moment right there.
Just a tad.
That could be someone's launch into British F4 or British F3.
Yeah, well and truly. I mean, I know I've said wow quite a few times in this particular broadcast, but yeah, the incentive, that carrot is getting very big. It's also getting very, very close. Exactly as we said. It's 2 rounds, including this one remaining. So these guys can see the prize that is in front of them. Again, the top 3 going through to that round. Even you may have struggled and just about made it to the top 3, and you could absolutely blitz the evaluation day. So how you do here isn't be all and end all for these guys, and they will know it. You know, keeping themselves within contention is what it really comes down to. And again, we come back to the mind games. We come back to how they handle the pressure. And wow, isn't it mounting up for all of our competitors across all 3 categories?
Well, when prizes like this are at stake, yes, it does. You know, it's massive prizes. We can say career-making prizes, perhaps, for these drivers, and they'll all be going absolutely on it in this final race of the evening here at Glan Y Gors. 15 laps will be the junior-senior race, and then, of course, one more round in a little bit time. Obviously, in a couple of weeks will be the final round at Paul Fletcher International PFI circuit. You know, we went there for the first round of the championship. We returned there for the final one as well. You know, it's going to be a fantastic round, PFI. It's such a great track too. But this is here at Glan Y Gors. This is where the drivers are going to be focusing on the setup for that final race, because that is what could get them a shot in a Formula 4 car.
Yeah, absolutely. The season started in very dramatic form and returns to that same stage, and what a fitting end it will be to this incredible season. But yeah, it's still so much to play for. So yet again, it's going to be keep the nerves under control, know where your braking marks are, because it's so easy when you're within touching distance of such a life-changing opportunity. It's very easy to just push that a little bit too hard. Know what you're capable of, know where your marks are, and concentrate on those. That's really what our drivers need to do. It's very easy for us to say to the commentary box. It's a very different thing when it's your hands on the steering wheel, when it's that prize that could potentially have your name on it. Whole different story.
Yeah, indeed. And, these guys, I mean, I did some testing once on the one of the KartSim servers just in my off time, and let me just say I was several seconds off these guys, so I don't think I'll be entering next year for sure, but definitely has been brilliant watching just the sheer talent on display this year.
Yeah, I mean, you could easily think, oh, the go-karts, what's really so hard about them? You try it and then see how you feel about it. They are far harder to control at this kind of speed. Yeah, even I could, take them around at barely any speed. Even I can manage that. But to take these kind of cars, or any kind of kart, any kind of vehicle competitively, but even these go-karts, to take them at this kind of speed and at the consistency that we've seen, there's another very, very big point. Looking at the scores we've seen throughout the season from our top runners, consistency is absolutely key. Nothing can understate that. Yeah, to be fast and consistent is absolutely amazing, and these guys have shown it in incredible amounts.
Yeah, indeed, and let's not forget it amongst all this. These are pretty high-level karts. These are X30 karts. Pretty big machinery. These are not the fastest karts. I mean, you've got your Rotax 177s, your KZ2 gearbox karts as well. Those are proper top-end karts, but these are pretty much up there with the best of them. So these are not easy to get to the limit and hold there. They're designed to be challenging, and they are.
Oh, well and truly they are. You're not likely to find too many of these at a Rive and Drive. Some places do have these high-performance go-kart, but most of them won't have karts to this kind of spec. So, the ability to keep these things under control, again, consistently and at the rate these guys do, cannot be understated.
Yeah, quite so. And, even I struggle even with the Army Cadet card sometimes. I struggled with that. So to get in the junior senior and be able to do that is even more impressive. But that's just how good these guys are. Obviously, practice underway now for junior senior classes, and Declan Russell out there in the 44 kart. And with that green plate, remember, this was actually brought in a couple of rounds ago to help differentiate. Oh, that has a big impact actually there. Actually, to differentiate between the junior and senior classes, because we were a lot of spectators and also as commentators were having difficulty. Who's in the junior class? Who's in the senior class? So that was brought in a couple of rounds ago. The green number plates used by the junior class, the karts there, and the seniors use the standard yellow plates. So if you see a kart leading the race overall with a green plate, it's a junior kart that's doing very well.
Oh yeah, he's having a real good day if that is the case, and it's absolutely possible to do. Now, exactly as Josh has alluded to, it's win by class that these guys are looking for. So if a different class of kart is directly ahead of them, they may not worry about it too much. But again, races are races. They will want that top honours irrespective of who's actually directly ahead of them. As we see on track at the moment, Ben Hamlet and Oliver Ellis Richardson having a bit of a practice at some side-by-side racing. This is very much Fran and Shaw all over again. These two again sporting that yellow coloured plate as explained, so they're in the senior category. But there is nothing stopping the juniors getting their elbows out and getting involved in the yellow plate karts either.
Yeah, I'd like to liken it actually to a kind of Le Mans racing. We have GT Pro and GTM, except it's not, it's not necessarily driver rating and machinery age that dictates the class, but rather just your age really, because obviously the junior and senior age classes are different. So otherwise they are in pretty much the same machinery and could fight between each other for overall position. But as we keep mentioning, it's class battles that count.
To round 6.
Really, that's what we're looking at here. This is, between your class, that's where you want to fight. You can go if you're a junior category driver. Nothing is stopping you from going for the seniors, but it's not really as important.
You're able to turn on virtual mirrors.
But it's great experience. It's certainly something that'll get you noticed.
However,
fantastic experience, and turn a few heads this year. You're thinking, oh well, he can stick it with the best of them, and he's already in the junior class, so eyes firmly fixed on you.
Exactly, and as esports grows as a commercial entity, it's things like that really can help you. Something we didn't really touch on with our cadets, but again, if you're going to get yourself noticed, if you want to kind of prove your worth, it's very difficult to do when the field is so talented. But if you're in a multi-class situation such as this, the juniors and seniors, if you can say as a junior, in the junior category, I was able to really be very high amongst the seniors. That again is a great differentiating factor to get your name noticed above the rest.
Yeah, indeed. Just get yourself out there. If you can punch above your weight, you're always going to have it made for yourself. You know, if you can fight with people in higher classes, you're always going to turn heads. And some drivers have been able to do that as well. You know, most notably our class leader in the junior category, Will Chadwick. He's always been up there, as has Declan Russell, as has Matthew Higgins. They've all been punching above their weight and fighting it out with some senior drivers who have fallen down the wayside a bit. And they've been giving them good battles as well, and in some ways helping them out with drafts and helping them get back through and fight back into it as well. But sometimes obviously battling with the junior driving can be a hindrance, because like, this guy's quicker than us and I need to get ahead to get to the next senior driver, help. But you know, it's just like, ultimately class battles at the end help to negotiate that a bit, because ultimately you're not fighting that driver for overall position, you're just fighting them to get them out of the way ultimately.
Yeah, and again, with that can be another element to the mental game. If you've got someone in a slower class ahead of you and you're struggling to keep up with them, that is going to really compound your already bad day. But yeah, there's again, just judging by this practice session, as some of our drivers really getting the laps out, getting the grips of how the kart feels here at Glan Y Gors. We could well be in for another very close battle if this is anything to go by.
Yeah, if that last cadet race was anything to go by, I'm expecting the entire field to be covered by a 10th. Because that was close, that was really close. But ultimately, you know, we've seen throughout the season as well, I've always said that the seniors and juniors, obviously with more experience in closer machinery, should be harder for them to stay closer together, but they've actually managed it better than the cadets for the most part. I mean, that's not a slight on the cadets. You know, these are very young drivers in the cadet class. Obviously, you know, ultimately about 12 years old, some of the cadets, you know, so very, very young drivers, you know, at the start of their careers, and they must be commended for putting on such a show. That was the closest qualifying session we've seen in the entire season, never mind the cadet class, that was. So the juniors and seniors have got some serious talent to live up to now. They have really got it all to do if they want to outperform the cadets, because, well, the bar has been set quite high now.
Yeah, the cadets are absolutely snapping at the heels of the juniors and seniors. But also something else I've mentioned, I've been looking at, keeping an eye on Oliver Ellis Richardson, joining the season very late, and joining at Roa in round 4, and already getting some very, very decent scores in, getting second in round 4 indeed. So it's a shame he's joined a little bit late, because I think he could have been right up there, and watching him having this battle with Ben Hamlet has been absolutely brilliant to watch. Again, just a real showcase to the talent that's out there in the class.
Yeah, real talent out there, and Ben Hamlet, as you rightly say, one of those talents as well. And I mean, some drivers, as you say, have come in late into the season. Maybe in 2019 we'll see them complete a full season and, you know, go for it in all senses of the word. Obviously, Ben Hamlet's still in the championship hunt here. Last 2 races he competed with wins. He gets 2 drop scores taken away. He's still within the championship hunt here. So I would seriously keep an eye on, because he could do quite well here. And I think he's going to really, really keep an eye in this championship hunt if he can just keep going. And we're about to tick into qualifying. That will happen in about 1 minute and 40 seconds. Bang on schedule, of course. So that'll be going then. And if that last qualifying was anything to go by, this should be really entertaining.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And again, looking at the scores, exactly as you say, Josh, that Ben Hamlet is right in there, considering the 2 drop scores that these guys have to go through. Adam Farmer's probably going to struggle a little bit, as he's scored very well, currently in the top 3, but when the drop scores kick in, he may struggle a little bit with those around him, but you never know. Was exactly what we saw with Kai Bacini last round. Just one split second can completely change the outcome of any race. Yeah, even the greats make mistakes, so there's nothing to guarantee that the top runners will stay towards the top. And it looks like we are switching over to the next session.
Yeah, switching over now to that qualifying session, and we are really going. Well, we're not
official
now.
Practice.
Official practice still. That was unofficial practice. Oh well, excuse us. So official practice starts now. So that was kind of the preamble. Now this is the actual FP. So yeah, 15 more minutes of practice and 15 more minutes of getting karts closer together.
Yeah, absolutely. So now that the warm-ups happen, now it's just I wonder if we'll start seeing drivers now really kind of pushing to see what they're really capable of. We saw a few drivers didn't come out on circuit, so hopefully we'll now start to see the start to really see indicative times coming out.
Yeah, indeed. And well, speaking of indicative times, I expect Harrison Scott to be up there all the way. I think he actually competed in the Winter Cup we had at the start of the season, but he's not been in any of the official championship rounds yet. I'm looking through the sort of archive of championship results we've had so far, and looking at the championship standings, he's not in there. He is not in any of the race results. So this will actually be his first championship round, and he was extremely impressive in the Winter Cup, from what I remember. So expect him to be up there here too.
Interesting. So we look forward to seeing how he shapes up then in the field. As we can see from Harrison, he has got the yellow plates on, so in the senior category. As you see who, and once again, is Oliver Ellis Richardson. And this time he's got Brandon Williams right with him. So once again, Ellis Richardson finds himself very close to somebody else and having to, not necessarily having to defend, but the way that he's driving would indicate he's not in a hurry to let Williams go past him. As now comes over the line to start to see some times come on the board. And it is indeed Ellis Richardson that gets on the top of the time sheets, 41.055. Ben Hamlet just 1.5 tenths down. So yeah, now start to let the close times roll in.
Yeah, and Ollie Ellis Richardson, while we're talking about him, he actually had a bit of an interesting entry into this championship. Won his entry by winning the fastest lap competition, the KartSim fastest lap competition, the official R-Factor 2 competition that was done. Just edged out Real Fukuda as well by 0.014 of a second ultimately. So that's how he won his entry and into the championship. Maybe we'll see Rio in it next year. But yeah, Ollie Ellis Richardson won his entry through that competition, and since winning it has really given the field what for. Of course, got a second round 4 and I think it was a 4th place round 5. So he's really been up there.
Yeah, absolutely. As James Lowther has also come on board, so we will have 10 karts with us for this second race as the junior and seniors flesh out a bit. So yeah, it's all going to be, and wow, Ollie Ellis Richardson first again in the sub 41s. He is really not hanging around this one. And again, there's a big statement of intent there. Those that might have been comfortable in their pace might have to think twice about how they feel now with Ollie really getting those impressive times on the board. Ben Hamlet getting one just over a tenth behind him, but still just over that 41 mark. So yeah, I think everyone's gonna have some work to do.
Yeah, work to do for everyone. Ollie Ellis Richardson, not the fastest lap hot lap champion winner for nothing, really showing why he got his entry here with that fantastic 40.8. But of course, this is not qualifying, but it is the preamble to qualifying. And I think, as we mentioned Mind Games before, he's just going to be trying to really go for it and get into the heads of his opponents, thinking, oh, wow, he's quick. And he is quick. He's brilliantly quick. And across the line he comes. Doesn't improve, of course, but, he's going to keep going and he's going to get that fastest lap he can. This is a sort of preamble to quali, so he knows where to brake, where to lift, where to get on the throttle, so he can get the perfect lap in, And it's all about rubbering the track in for qualifying as well, because R-Factor 2 real road, of course, the more rubber laid on the track now, the more there will be in qualifying and more grip.
Yeah, we're seeing a few battles going on as well, so whether there's a kind of light-hearted love taps going on, or again they're just making a statement of intent, you be the judge. As we saw Declan Russell and Brandon Williams having a particular on-track skirmish with Russell coming off a little bit worse there. Again, all part of the mind games going on. But wow, Ollie Ellis Richardson once again improves on that already impressive time, 40.8. He's got no one anywhere near him on track, and he's absolutely flying.
Yeah, it really is going quickly here. Ben Hamlet, one I've been talking about all season as well since he joined, has always been up there with the best of them. Another brilliant talent is Ben Hamlet, and definitely going to be interested to see how he does here. A bit of a knock of Ben Shepherd there, actually. But Hamlet, Ellis Richardson, Scott, I think definitely 3 of the most talented drivers. That's not to knock the rest of the field, though. Everyone who can make it into the Super 1 British Esports Championship has talent, to some degree. And, they're all here for a reason, because they're all great drivers. And, Alex Everett actually having a bit of a contact with Ben Hamlin, then knocking himself into the wall. They've got to watch that in the race, of course, because, contact like that is one way to find yourself off the track, because when these karts get on the grass, they are not easy to get back off them again.
No, very much so. No matter how good you are, if you can't get any traction, which you won't get a lot of out there on the green stuff, you're in for a long day.
Yeah, it is going to be a long day for you if you do get on the green stuff. I mean, it's why they don't make racetracks out of grass unless you are, of course, a lawnmower racer, in which case they do. But, ultimately it's about keeping it on the tarmac where the grip and rubber is, and the better you can do that, the more chance you have, obviously, of getting that win in the first place. And Ollie Ellis-Richardson, not exactly... Well, he can rely on his pace, but Ben Hamlet's not that far behind, so right now he's probably going to have to try and find a bit more if he can just rely on himself to get through here, because Hamlet, as we keep mentioning, very, very talented.
Yeah, and again, Ben Hamlet, having won the last 2 rounds, has got a lovely bit of momentum behind him, and that really can help, just to kind of keep the nerves, keep yourself settled. You have the capability of getting on that top spot, but equally you can't let that run away. You can't let that become too into overconfidence. Keeping it under control. But Ben Hamlet has the lovely advantage of having the last 2 wins under his belt. And just 13 thousandths of a second behind Ollie Ellis-Richardson. So again, that's a big old statement of intent there, if ever I saw one. Alex Everett and Malcolm Smith just a tenth apart. So I think we're in for a number of decent scraps in this race.
Yeah, I would definitely keep an eye out, because things are going to get interesting. Harrison Scott just popping out of the session there, and hopefully he'll be joining back in again before the race actually gets underway. I'm just wondering if this is what actually happened with the other 5 races, where they just popped in, did some laps and left again. I don't know, but he's got his license, meaning he's allowed to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do it, now's the time. You don't really want to be jumping out during qualifying. That will have rather more disastrous consequences. So if you're going to have to pop out for a moment, I guess during practice is it.
Yeah, I've had that before, where I've had to tweak some graphic settings or change resolution or whatever, and it's always best to get out there in practice. If you're doing qualifying, you're going to ruin the amount of times you have to do laps. So, but I mean, for someone like me who kind of specialises in Super Bowl qualifying and often makes advantage of it just to get a bit of extra air time, it's not really a problem for me. But, for these guys who might want multiple laps, it's important to get as many as they can. As in fact, Harrison Scott does re-enter the session here, and he's back in. Maybe just had to go tweak some settings relating to graphics, maybe even turning his graphics up if they were, turned down a bit. Yeah,
indeed. Only he will know what he's done there, but of course he jumps back in with that 41.9 is what he has done so far. Comes back out on track. Almost everybody is on track, putting the rubber down, getting some practice in, and still on the top of the chart is Ollie Ellis-Richardson with that incredibly impressive 40.7. So the pace between the cadets and the juniors, the actual sort of raw pace difference is not as high as you might think, but the close of how close the racing is ever as intense.
Yeah, really intense stuff, even in this practice session, and that led to a great qualifying session in the cadets. So I imagine we'll see it's good. Yeah, I mean, Hamlet and Ellis-Richardson, 0.013 between them. That is just, I'd say it's obscene, but we saw it in the cadets. So it's not really. It's kind of just become the normal at this point. Williams, Everett, very close as well, as is Malcolm Smith to those two. So brilliant qualifying battle going on there. And then we got Shepherd, Scott, Chaddock as well, and Declan Russell bringing up the rear, so to speak. And James Lowther's actually been disqualified from the session, so now he's going to wait 6 minutes before he can get his qualifying in. But Ellis-Richardson really setting the pace at the moment, but Hamlet keeping him in check nicely. And as far as championship ramifications is concerned, that's going to be important for Ellis-Richardson to try and get himself back in it, Hamlet to stay in it, and Brandon Williams to stay at the top of his lead. And Chaddock as well. I'm actually surprised by how far behind he is. He's 8th overall, and for the junior category leader, he's popped up to 7th now. We're all a bit contact with Williams there on pit exit, but for Chaddock as well, the likes of Declan Russell has now, I think, been undisqualified, or whoever it was that was disqualified has been undisqualified, so they're back in the session now.
That was Lowther.
It was Lowther back in the session now. Russell far behind as well. Higgins is I'm looking for. I don't think Matthew Higgins is here, actually. James Lowther, though, is. Lucas Ellingham not here. Aaron Walker, nor is JP Slater. So, kind of small turnout from the junior category, but they're all kind of around the back. So, they will be focusing on their own class wins rather than going for overall position, I think, given how far at the back they are.
Indeed, but, there's still There's always that surprise element that could pop out. You never know exactly what will happen, as rather our cadets indeed prove. Lowther might be at a bit of a disadvantage. Of course, he hasn't done as many practice laps as the rest, and that can play on your mind a bit. But it all depends on how much practice he's done offline or how much practice he's done elsewhere as to how confident he'll feel. But you will want to do the practice, particularly against the competitors you are going to race against. So just to give you a feel of where realistically you are on the pecking order, you have an idea of where you are based on championship position, but different tracks suit different drivers, their own styles, their own setups, what have you. So you always want to get a decent amount of practice in where you are going to compete. So that could be a bit of a disadvantage for Lowther.
Yeah, it could be a disadvantage for Lowther ultimately at the end of the day. But, I've had that before myself too, because I do quite a lot of racing myself. I don't just commentate on racing. I like to actually get in there and get in the esports action myself. And I've had it before where I've been in line very recently for a championship, and then I've blown it in the last round. So different tracks do, suit certain people, and ultimately, if you don't like a track, you don't like a track, but you just got to try and make the best of it ultimately. Obviously, for the likes of Chadwick, who aren't doing quite as well here as he might have expected, ultimately he's got to just go for it anyway and make the best.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important. Never give up. You might think you're out of the championship fight, but you just don't know what's going to happen. Someone could become disqualified, disconnect, throw it in the wall, tangle with someone. You just don't know. You can never give up until that final checkered flag falls on the final round. You just never know what will happen. So I've done some league racing myself. I always say some. It's really not a great deal. I know where my talent lies, and it's not behind the wheel particularly. It's very much behind the microphone in as far as those two elements are concerned. But I have done some, and I know it doesn't really matter what it is you're racing. When you're in a racing situation, you've mentioned it quite a few times tonight, the mind games, the handling of the pressure, it is a huge factor that unless you've kind of been in that race situation, it's very easy to underestimate just how important or how much that really plays into racing. If you can handle the pressure well, you'll forward plan your moves, you can position your car properly. But if you're a little bit prone to panic, then you're far more likely to throw it away. And what could be a win or a decent points result, major championship altering position, could be gone in a flash.
Yeah, it could be. Anything can change on a dime, really. And at the end of the day, it can and often does in kart racing change just like that. And it's why it's so challenging, because it is racing really to the 10,000th of a second, unlike a lot more sports which is racing to the 10th of a second. This is literally got to be on it 24/7 stroke 365 as opposed to just 24/7.
Yeah, absolutely. And still, Ben Hammett and Ollie Ellis Richardson are still having a good old fight out there. They've been fighting for quite a bit of this practice session. Ollie just getting an additional lap in over Ben. But if this is, and I really hope this is anything, I hope this is really indicative of what we're going to get in the race, because they don't look like they've been sandbagging. They've been absolutely going for it this whole session long. Still, Ollie with that slightly faster time, just 13 thousandths in it, so barely the time to blink between those two. So yeah, I think we're in for a good one.
Yeah, we are in for an absolute, I've run out of proverbials now. It's just been that good an evening, really, to be honest. We are on for brilliant race, though. A real humdinger here at Glan Y Gors, the championship circuit layout, of course. And, well, if you thought the cadet race was going to be good, hang on to something, because this qualifying session is probably going to be just as good. And, well, I would usually say if not better, but I doubt it's going to beat it this time around. But ultimately, they are going to push hard, these juniors and seniors, in this session and in the 15-lap race that follows with 40-second laps. It's only going to be 11 or 12 minutes. So, again, real sprint like the cadet race. Yep,
and again, a mistake, because these cars are quicker, one small mistake is magnified by that exponential amount. If you hit a curb a little bit too hard, as again we see Ben Hamley bouncing off of Russell there, off of Declan Russell, as Declan's actually lost his nose somewhere. Ow! That's not how you take the final turn, Mr. Hamlet. But yeah, just one small mistake. In the cadets, we were looking at Ben Hamlet there. just went a little bit too wide and just had a little bit of a bump to send him into the wall. In the Cadets, they could have got away with it because they're carrying less momentum. So again, one small mistake and the outcome is that much more magnified.
Yeah, really magnifies the outcome, and well, we're just in the waiting stage now. Time has expired. Drivers are just coming back into the pit boxes and preparing themselves for the qualifying session ahead. And well, pole for me, it's going to be so close between Ellis Richardson and Hamlet. I think Williams, Shepherd and Smith just out of pace at the moment, so really it's between these two for pole for me.
Well, judging by the practice, that would certainly be a safe bet with Ellis Richardson and Hamlet absolutely going for it. But we don't know how much anyone else was just holding back. Of course, Williams is leading the way in the senior category with two early wins. And the last 3 wins in the junior category was indeed Chadwick. So, let's not forget his performance so far. So he's got a fair bit of momentum behind him. And Ben Hamlet, as we mentioned, has won the last 2 rounds for the senior category. So it's very open. Who's going to come out? I mean, Ellis Richardson and Hamlet is. Yeah, I think you're right. They are going to be right up there. Flip a coin and pick one. Basically, odds are it's going to be one of those two. But then look at the Cadets. Bacchini came out of nowhere and stole the pole by less than 1,000.
Yeah, really, really on it. And, at the end, stole it by 10,000 did Bacchini. So, at the end of the day, if this is as close as that, then I don't think we're going to have voices for the race. So,
what a way to go.
Let's actually hope that it's not as close. We can actually commentate on the race. But, yeah, just waiting for it to take over now. And it is going to be a close-knit session. And if you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe to the KartSim Limited channel and like the stream. Make sure you can tune in as well for the final round in a couple of weeks' time at Paul Fletcher International, where it all rounds out and ends the season. I can guarantee you that'll be as good as this.
Oh, yeah. And again, going back to our Cadets, both of the front runners on equal points coming in. So it is very literally winner takes all for that. And of course, the juniors and the seniors have every opportunity to be just as close and thrilling. Of course, with that much more pace in their karts. Don't go anywhere because this is going to be a good one.
It will be. It's going to be fantastic. And, how do you think it's going to get, Paul? Everyone in the comments, do write a comment and let us know who you think is going to get it, because this is going to be a close session. And, well, I just want to see what you think. See if you can predict it better than us. Who knows? But, yeah, here we go then. Now we get underway. The qualifying session about to start. Karts about to start. Roaring round the Glan Y Gors circuit. Everyone rushing to the end of the pit lane wants to be first out. They all want to get that first lap in to get the most laps in, but they've got to wait until the lights go green. If they exit under red, of course, that is an instant penalty, and they do not want that. So, waiting now for the lights to go, for the timer to start ticking, and qualifying can really go, and we are now go. So 7 minutes they will have to get these laps in. Ellis Richardson, Williams and Hamlet, the first 3 out, and they are not giving any quarter already into the racing. Shepard out, Smith out, Chadwick out, Everett out. So it's Scott and Russell and Lowther will be the last 2 staying in their own sort of little space. And in fact, I've seen actually Williams has gone off. That's how far they're pushing. So he's gone back to the pit and is now going to get his own bit on track, which I think actually is probably the best option, because you don't get caught in the dirty air then.
Well, indeed, most of the field's still very heavily condensed, so Ollie was very, very keen to be first man out. He was positioned his kart in such a way that no one could actually get past him before that all-important red light change, as he now comes around, completes his out-lap, and on he goes. So if you're going to come off the fence then, Josh, which one, judging by practice he is between Ellis Richardson and Hamlet, which one are you going to put your money on for pole?
Right, it's time to get off this fence once and for all. I am going to go with the hot lap champion, Ollie Ellis Richardson, purely because I just feel like he got close, but I just don't think he's going to have the edge in quali. I think Ellis Richardson might just have a little bit more in the tank.
A fair guess. I may as well go the opposite way just to be devil's advocate, but also, Hamlet's come off the back of 2 wins. Last 2 rounds have been him with top honours, so let's go Hamlet. Why not? As the first times coming onto the board, 41.2, 41.5, 41.8. Yeah, they're all coming in. Wow, Chadwick getting right in there, currently third. Oh, just demoted to fourth. And Harrison Scott, we didn't really see a great deal of him in the practice session. Gets in that 41.5. Sits in there in second position. I think everybody's got time to find, though, as the last of the time start to roll in. So, yeah, it is all there to play for. They need to kind of spread out a little bit. They're still quite bunched up for the most part. But, yeah, Ollie Richardson is wanting that top honours, and Ben Hamlet is following him all the way.
Yeah, Ben Hamlet constantly on his back. Harrison Scott as well, I forgot to mention him amongst all this, has gone up there as well. Right up with Hamlet. In fact, Hamlet has just gone close to Idle Richardson there, 0.025 out. But Scott was up there as well, and Harrison Scott is not one to be overlooked by any means of the imagination, because, you know, very, very talented driver and real serious talent. You know, he's brilliant stuff. Was born all the way back in 1996 and, well, won the Euro Formula Open Championship, I believe, actually, as well, in 2017. So, really seriously good talent. He's been up there in Formula Ford as well, 2013, 2014, second place both times. Formula 4 Autumn Trophy, got second place in that too. And I believe if he's the one I'm looking at, he's been competing in Pro Master as well.
Very, very nice. I left school in 1996. That shows how old I am. Ben Hamlet's just got his car on the pole spot with that 40.736. There's 58,000 ahead of Ellis Richardson at the moment. Malcolm Smith up to third then. He is second in the seniors category. Oops, that's gone horribly wrong for him. And the run down to the first major braking zone. So he's going to have to kind of get himself back in the rhythm. 41.4 for him. And even that's 6/10. That's a huge gap. A surprising gap as he's second to third. But still, time's tumbling down, but they haven't got a lot of time to get that magic lap in. Just 3.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, of course. Really a lot of time, you know, in any possibly. It's a bit of time here as well. I think I've got the race Harrison Scott in amongst all this. But yeah, you know, to have someone of that caliber who's been to America, actually won rounds at Birmingham and Indianapolis, has had most laps led in races as well. You know, Harrison is really seriously talented, and he's come back from America, obviously, missed the rounds at Mid-Ohio and Portland, still finished 8th in the championship. Imagine where he could have been if he just done all the rounds. He could have challenged for the overall title.
Absolutely.
So to have someone of that caliber in this championship, you know, he's always been having to leave a couple of comments before as well, but he's not raced as Harrison Scott, so he's keen on this championship. He's been keeping an eye on it. He is such a good driver, and, you know, I expect, you know, even someone as good as him can fall on the wayside, and he's not quite caught Smith, Ellis Richardson, and Hamlet. These are guys that can compete at that level in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And still, the pole time is tumbling down, where everyone's time is continuing to fall. Hamlet holding on to that pole spot by 0.03 of a second now. 40.673 for Hamlet, 40.703 for Ellis Richardson. Malcolm Smith hanging on to third, 7/10 down. And then you've got a real close cluster there, third to sixth, of Smith, Scott, Shepherd and Williams. 7th, 8th and 9th, 10th down from the pole spot. And actually Everett's not too far behind that. Indeed, Everett and Chadwick are not far behind that either. So a real big midfield battle potentially forming there.
Yeah, really big battle, obviously. Just look how close it is. I mean, you've got Malcolm Smith to Will Chadwick from 3rd to 8th is 3/10. So I think that says it all, really. But yeah, 1 minute and 40 to go in qualifying. I expect about 2-3 laps more for these drivers. And, well, Ellis Richardson and Hamlet, I think my prediction is wrong at the moment, because Hamlet is a little bit ahead. But Ollie Ellis Richardson has got a bit more, I feel. Going to push it. He has to push it if he wants to get pole. Brandon Williams moves up past Smith.
Ooh.
Ellis Richardson has not improved this lap, but he's close.
No, but I think he's just taken I think he either hit someone else's debris, or he knocked something off that car there and saw something go flying as he came over the line. So he may well have caused a bit of damage to that car. So we'll see if that is affecting him. Still, that 0.03 of a second difference between the top two. Brandon Williams has just jumped up to third there, getting 0.02 of a second between himself and Smith. So close in that midfield pack. Brandon Williams on 41.402, Smith 41.420, Alex Everett 41.481. So that's another 0.04 between Everett and Smith. Harrison Scott is right there as well, as mentioned. Just 0.04 of a second separating Harrison Scott and Bradley Shepherd there. So yeah, that's so close. Will Chadwick's been sent down to 8th, but still obviously pressing on with a bit of time to find Declan Russell and James Mather seemingly struggling a little bit. Oh, we've got it again! Look at that!
God, this is the fix, this is I say you can't script motor racing, but this is just scripted now. Hamlet and Ellis Richardson have set the same time, but it's Ben Hamlet this time, within a couple of 10,000. So just someone come along and go 2 tenths quicker, please. We can't have it twice. If we have it twice, I'll have to retire.
Twice in the same session in 2 different categories, don't forget. Checkered flag now.
Hamlet here. Hamlet coming around, and no, he hasn't improved. If only Ellis Richardson doesn't improve, then it's going to happen again.
He's backed off. He's backed off. Oh my goodness me! How did we do this? How did we manage that? 2 races in the same stream, 2 different classes. Both of them match the pole time to win within, beyond the thousands of a second.
That's it. This is my last race ever. I'm never commentating again after this. Nothing is ever going to top this.
I think I've obviously come in for this particular round and for next time as well. So I think I might be banned at this rate. Wow!
Stop, because the world's going to implode because everybody's setting the same times. Oh my lord, indeed. Ben Hamlet, Ollie Ellis Richardson have done the Bacini Earthen effect here. And just, I don't know how they do it. I really don't. They've gone within 10,000 of each other again, but this time it's Hamlet who's usurped Ellis Richardson, and this is just obscene.
This is now going to be referred to as the Glan Y Gors effect. That's what I've decided. Yeah,
I'm letting you coin that one. I'm stealing it. I'm going to use it in every race I use.
Be my guest. When 2 different races, exactly the same pole time, is now referred to as the Glan Y Gors effect. Wow, what a finish!
I just don't get it. I really don't. It's just, you're going to have to explain this because I'm speechless.
I wish I could find the words. It's not good a commentator not finding words to just explain something, but both you and I are in the same boat on this one. That is absolutely incredible. Brandon Williams did close in a bit on the top 2, 41.248, and Harrison Scott jumped up to 4th towards the end there with that 41.358. But what? Wow! But we've got an incredible battle. If these times are kind of how they're going to be indicative, we're going to have the top 2 that could well break away a bit from 3rd down to 7th at least. So William, Scott, Smith, Everett and Shepherd all within 3 tenths of one another. Chadwick just a couple of tenths outside of that. But if Declan Russell and James Lowther sort of suddenly come good, they could well be in the mixture as well.
I'm sorry, but twice. Yes, I should probably mention they are going to be definitely up for this race win here, Hamlet and Ellis Richardson, and Williams as well, Harrison Scott, Malcolm Smith, expect them to be fighting in the midfield. If something happens to either of these 2 leaders, any of them can take the win too. Just because we've got drivers who have cloned each other doesn't mean that we're going to have guaranteed winners. It could go any way.
Yeah, exactly that. Unfortunately, Bajini did have that drive-through early on, but he did fall foul of a few mistakes. But exactly as we said before, anything can happen. You said it usually does. And wow, what a stage that these guys have set for us.
Well, I'm expecting everyone to set the fastest time. Everyone to just match each other PFI now. Anything else will be a disappointment.
Yeah,
anything
absolutely.
else, and will just downgrade themselves because I know it's just crazy, but the race will really sort this out once and for all.
Yeah.
In a way, it's going to motivate Hamlet and Ellis Richardson because, we've just set at the same time. Right, beat you in the race then.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. And you think, I honestly thought we were not going to, the bar that the Cadets set, I thought that's going to be there for a damn long time. No, one more race, bang! They've hit it. They haven't beaten it.
They're determined to outshine them, aren't they? They're just going to steal
anything you can do, I can do as well. Absolutely.
By that logic, then, we are going to have 2 race winners. Well, we are going to have 2 race winners. There's 2 classes. I think by this logic, Ben Hamlet and Ollie Ellis Richardson will both win this race. But who do you think's going to win it?
I'm going to stick with Ben. Just usurping Ollie. Had the advantage over practice up until the last, and then absolutely at the right time getting onto the pole. I'm going to stick with Ben Hamlet.
That's a fair shout indeed. Well, here we go once again. Glan Y Gors, lights on, lights off. Hamlet gets a good start. Ellis Richardson just on the outside there. Both get decent starts though. Brandon Williams is catching as is Efren immediately. Everyone at the back end of that field has gone off this rear, this front bumpers, flying around like confetti at a birthday party, but ultimately it's Ellis Richardson and Hamlet who get the best starts there. Williams gets a good start too, as does Smith. Chaddock stayed out of it. Harrison Scott avoided disaster too, but Lowther, Everett, Shepherd, Russell all lost front bumpers.
Oh, what a disaster for the tail end of the field. As Shepherd and Declan Russell are still fighting away there. Sorry, Shepherd and Everett are having their battle, but eyes at the front, exactly as we thought. Hamlet and Richardson and Ellis Richardson beginning to break away. This is a second between second and third at the moment, with Williams leading the way. But Hamlet has the measure of Ellis Richardson at the moment. Those 15 laps are going to disappear pretty quickly in these karts, but that's a lot of pressure that Ben Hamlet has on his shoulders at the moment. But of course, as we said before, he's got the momentum in the last 2 wins.
Oh,
he's got
the round.
Oh no!
He's had enough. Harrison Scott's went into the bumper and lost his, so that's going to be a 10-second for Scott, and that is not going to help him. It's put him into this sort of mid-pack battle because he is going to get that penalty now. But now it's just Smith, Williams, Richardson, and Hamlet with their bumpers, with the exception of Chaddock, of course, who behind them still has his. But this is close-knit stuff between Hamlet and Richardson, as you rightly say. But midfield are having their own battles too.
Yeah, absolutely. As that's what we were seeing from the times that was coming in. And Ellis Richardson is not holding back at all. They may well be in the same class, they may be wearing the same colours, but there is nothing stopping Ellis Richardson, just piling the pressure on Ben Hamlet as well. We'll see if he's able to withstand that pressure for another 13 laps. Great stuff so far. Brendan Williams has broken away a little bit from Malcolm Smith. There's about 7/10 give or take over the line last time between those two. Harrison Scott, of course, with the damage on his car, but he finds himself very much clear of Chadwick. Of course, Chadwick is going to gain. At that rate, if the race finished now, he would gain 5th from Harrison Scott, but he's got to stay in contention of the car ahead. There's Alex Everett in 7th. He's missing that front wing. Bradley Shepherd, we saw having that early problems in 8th position. Declan Russell is very much on his own. He's got Lowther trying to chase him, so a lot of damage down there. But yeah, the front two still in a complete league of their own at the moment.
Yeah, complete league of their own at the moment. Now Hamlet and Ellis Richardson both pushing each other so hard. Williams, though, should have Smith to worry about if he slows down for a second. So he's got to keep on it as Brandon Williams. Smith, though, right there behind. And then obviously you've got Scott without a bumper, which means Will Chaddock should actually go up to 5th in amongst all this. And it's not going to affect his standing. He is still, of course, lead junior. But then we got the likes of Everett, Shepherd, Russell, Lowther, all behind with no front bumper. So their position is on the road. That is not going to change. The only change at the moment is Scott's slight demotion, but it's not going to change anything for his overall in-class position either, because it's just the total running order. Is Shepherd out?
Yeah.
Shepherd out? Is he disconnected perhaps? I'm just looking actually, and he struck the front, the rear right struck. He spun and then he just pulled off. So Shepherd out after a crash there, and that is unfortunate to see him go out like that. But that is going to promote perhaps a couple of drivers.
A great shame. He had a pretty strong result at Roa and Shennington, so it's a shame he's not able to maintain that momentum. The first casualty of the race as far as retirements are concerned. But yeah, that is going to promote a few drivers up one, irrespective of the damage they carry. Chadwick is losing a bit of time on Scott. He's about 3 seconds outside of that all crucial 10 seconds that Scott's going to have added to his time. So he's got to pick up that pace a little bit, or hope that Harrison Scott falls into a bit of trouble. But also there's something else that could potentially happen if James Lowther continues to struggle. They may well have the likes of Hamlet and Ellis Richardson staring to lap them before the checkered flag falls.
Yeah, it's going to be problematic perhaps for the leaders if they don't quite, get out of the way of being lapped potentially. If they have to lap them, that's going to cause problems for Hamlet and Ellis Richardson, possibly even open up an overtake if Ollie is feeling brave enough, because traffic can hurt that sometimes. But yeah, Hamlet clips the corner nicely. He's feeling the pressure, definitely.
Well and truly, but Ollie Ellis Richardson absolutely nailed to the back of the 69 cars as they come around and start lap number 8. So over halfway in this race and nothing to call between the top two. They have continued to pull away from Brandon Williams in third. So whilst fighting, they are still maintaining their absolutely blistering pace. And that is why they are towards the sharp end of the senior category. Of course, Ellis Richardson was a late joiner, but with the results that we saw in the last 2 rounds, he could well have been up there. He's a very serious contender, and he's really proving his worth in this category here.
He is, yeah. I mean, kart racing tends to see people use each other as ways to get out of the way of the field. Obviously, with slipstream effects accelerating faster, then they'll battle with each other for the last few laps. You know, we've seen this before. Drivers they'll battle with each other and work with each other, yeah, but they'll never really mount the overtake until they absolutely have to. You know, we see this a lot, and we've seen it throughout the season. Drivers will battle with each other to break away from the karts that are chasing them behind, and in the last couple of laps, that's only in those laps where the sort of peace treaties are ripped up, thrown in the bin, and then everyone just goes for themselves. Yeah,
absolutely. So the strategy element, again, some people may kind of think, it's only go-kart racing, what strategy can there be? Well, there's exactly as you say, Josh, that's a prime example of where strategy comes into it. Of course, these guys don't have to pit. That looks like they are actually catching, or they are likely to catch Declan Russell.
Russell's just been up there, so yeah, you're right. He has been caught, so to speak, and yeah, he's now a lap down, so anyone else who's in that position, do worry. What's happened there?
Declan Russell's actually got 3 wheels.
Oh, yes, actually, yes. He's now got 3 wheels on his wagon, and, I'd assume that he should probably just retire at this point. In fact, I know he's trying to pull out from trying to get it back to the pits. Well, bless him, but I don't think the mechanics are going to be able to do that, because that's a broken suspension arm as well. So, he's having to cut across the track big time here to try and get back to the pits, and he has done. And he's almost done actually. Williams just misses him, and his cart is crippled at this point. He's just trying to get it in, but he has managed to get it out of harm's way at the very least. But Ollie Ellis Richardson has got more things to worry about than Brandon Williams. Declan Russell. He's got to worry about Ben Hamlet, and Brandon Williams as well. Think missed him as well. Now he's got to worry about Malcolm Smith, Will Chaddock, Harrison Scott out of the way as well. Everett and Loud, they're just in a bit of a battle of their own at the moment, as Russell has got it back to the pits, but they are not going to be able to repair that kart, I don't think, not with that much damage, because it's one thing to replace a punctured tyre, the other to completely weld another truck arm back on.
Yeah, that's a little bit beyond what the trackside mechanics is going to be able to do there, but that is not the concern of Ellis Richardson and Ben Hamlet. They press on and look to try, as James Lowther has been lapped by the top 2, so his day is getting no better. That's Ellis Richardson still hanging on, remaining within half a second of Ben Hamlet. We've got Malcolm Smith on the back of Brandon Williams. The battle for the last podium position rages on. Harrison Scott and Will Chadwick not really in a battle for position, as Chadwick is in the junior category and Harrison Scott in the seniors. But on track, at least, they are fairly close to one another. Alex Everett a little bit on his own there, and James Lowther very much on his own. But all eyes still remain as we have 3 laps to go. This race has absolutely flown by as we thought it would. Ellis Richardson has got to he can't let Hamlet get away too much. That gap went up to 6.5 tenths when they crossed the line, and he does not want to let that gap start to grow. But Ben Hamlet knows he's got to get on with it, and get on with it now to try and get away.
Yeah, this is kind of the point where the Priest Treaty does go up. Ellis Richardson at this point is done chasing. He wants to overtake now, and Hamlet is going to know that. If they come out to finish the 13th lap, 2 to go now. And, there's only about 80 seconds of racing left. Ben Hamlet knows that, but he knows those 80 seconds could decide the difference between the win and second. Declan Russell is still in the pits here, so unless he's deciding to keep it in the pits, there might actually be some repair work going on that kart, but Ellis Richardson definitely chasing hard now. Can't really see many other battles apart from Chaddock and Scott, but really it's this battle we want to be focusing on between Hamlet and Ellis Richardson.
Just 2 tenths between the top 2 now. Kart 69 hanging on to that top spot. Kart 54 is doing what he can to keep the pressure high and get that one crucial mistake that could be the defining moment in the lead change that Ellis Richardson is looking for. One more lap to go. So it is now or never for Ollie Ellis Richardson, streaming on down towards the next heavy braking zone. He's too far back to try and move. and gets the car rotated nicely, but of course so does Hamlet. Hamlet keeps hitting his marks. He knows how wide that car is, and he knows how to make it that much wider at the crucial moment. But it's all going to be down to just those few more, the half a mile to go. Can Hamlet hang on?
Can he, will he, can he do it? It looks like he will. Ellis Richardson not getting the lines he needed. Round the final couple of corners now. It is looking like it will be Ben Hamlet, and it will be Ben Hamlet's victory at Glan Y Gors, and a valiant second for Ellis Richardson. Really pushed him all the way. Brandon Williams as well, will come home third with his front bumper intact too. No problems for him. Malcolm Smith fourth. Harrison Scott, well, he lost his front bumper, but he never gave up. He will be fifth in his first championship finish of the season. That's not bad at all for the ProMaster veteran. And World Tradic, he comes hard into the final turn to take the junior victory, continue to consolidate his championship lead. Alex Everett next in the seniors will finish 7th overall. James Lowther finishes 8th, and Declan Russell, I'm not sure about the classification, but the mechanics did actually pack the Loctite and the spanners, because he's still going to get to the end.
Well, if you want personification of determination, that is exactly it from Declan Russell. Great job there. But absolutely top job by everybody concerned, as we said before, but particularly to Ben Hamlet and Ollie Ellis Richardson as Declan Russell goes for a bit of a trip through the grass there before he brings that car home. What an incredible finish to split the qualifying times as close as they did, and to be as close as they were for so long. Absolutely amazing stuff.
Brilliant stuff indeed. And Malcolm Smith saying in the chat there, he thinks Brandon Williams has got it, but he's forgetting the 2 drop scores they get. I think they are still going to go for it here. And, well, Harrison Scott saying he wants to protest Ben's engine. Well, I don't think there's any mechanical cheatery going on here, but Harrison Scott, we know, is a bit of a bantery lad here, and, well, probably just having a bit of a joke about. But either way, it was a great race. He even admits it himself there. Well done, he says. And I'd say well done as well to everyone in all classes. It has been a sensational 2 races and a sensational evening, really. It's just been absolutely fantastic, and definitely, for me, best round of the season.
Oh, yeah, just a tad. That's absolutely amazing to see. So,
just a little bit. Glan Y Gors, what a circuit.
Oh, yeah. Talk about, the newly coined Glan Y Gors effect. That's absolutely amazing. Now, just doing some quick maths, that does obviously close the gap between Hamlet and Ellis Richardson, of course, is that much further behind, of course, because he missed the first few rounds. So Brendan Williams is the top target there. He's still got some points to overhaul, but Brendan Williams can only gain a few more points, whereas, of course, Hamlet had, he got 0 at Lark Hall. So he's got more potentially to gain. But, with performances like that, he's going to be right in the mixture.
Yeah, I think, in terms of junior standings, Will Chaddock has just pulled out a crucial win here today, and that's going to bring his championship points lead, I believe, up to about 40 points in the running total. Of course, that does not count the drop scores, so Russell will still probably be in with it, but he's going to feel the pressure, as I'm sure the other drivers will in the senior category too. And of course, as we mentioned, Cadet Championship, we believe after drop scores, Erfan and Shaw equal now, and McCleary and the likes are going to be up there as well, so keep half an eye on this final round at PFI, Paul Fletcher International, in a couple of weeks' time, because that's where it's all going to be decided, and it is going to be a mental, manic round for sure, with everything to play for. But until that time, I've been Josh Rennerton, he's been Chris Buxton, and from me and everyone here at KartSim, at R Factor 2, and with the broadcast team today, we wish you goodbye from the Super 1 British Esports Championship, and you would be mad to miss the next round, the final round at Paul Fletcher International in a couple of weeks' time.
And we're off.
Woo! Me sideways and grill me on a stove.